Merchant account rates were set up for a variety of different reasons. First and foremost, merchant account rates were designed to cover the costs required to process credit card transactions. There are different types of credit card processing fees and rates for different types of transactions, as well as different types of cards that are being used. So we'll go over the basics of merchant account pricing so you can understand what you are paying. The most basic, and this is for a swipe account, typically you have a qualified rate, also known as discount. So for a qualified rate, you would have a 1.89% discount rate plus 25 cents per transaction. So if you had a $100 transaction, you would pay $1.89 plus 25 cents each time that you swiped a credit card for that transaction. Now, a lot of times a merchant will be taking a credit card and maybe the magnetic stripe is demagnetized, or the credit card is bent and he can't read it through the terminal. The merchant at that point has the ability to key in the transaction, the credit card number, hit submit, and send the transaction. Now, because you did not physically swipe the credit card, that is a slightly higher risk type transaction. The reason being is somebody could have a pocket full of stolen credit cards. They can go up to their credit card machine and enter in 50 times fraud charges on consumers' credit cards. So because of the additional risk, because the swipe wasn't physically put into the system, the banks charge an additional fee, which is called your mid-qualified surcharge. Average fee for this is about 1%. Depending on which service provider, these are the areas where they can give you a free piece of equipment, but they can charge you 2% for this type of transaction. Transaction fee is typically always 25 cents. So if you key in transactions, do that as little as possible because you'll avoid this surcharge. Because instead of paying $2.89, instead of paying $1.89, you're going to pay this plus this for a total of $2.89. You just threw away $1. So if you can avoid keying in transactions, you'll lower your processing fees overall. The last tier is what are used for rewards cards, points cards, miles, even international cards. All of those rewards, points, and miles have to be paid for. And typically there's a 1% premium on top of your mid-qualified rate. Any business rewards, miles, or international cards will be subject to what's called a non-qual rate. And this is where they really get you. Because nowadays, more and more people are using these rewards and cards in their daily business buying habits. So 30-35% of your credit cards are going to be some sort of rewards card. And you won't even know it because you're just going to look at the credit card. It's going to look like a regular credit card. The point is that I have seen processors charge an extra 3% for just to take that additional business card. So know what you're paying. If you are below 2%, you got a pretty good deal. Average right now is about 1.80. So for a business card, you would be paying 1.89% plus 1.80% for a total of 3.69%. That takes a pretty hefty bite. But at the end of the day, remember, your business rewards and your business and rewards card users are the people that buy the most and they buy the most often. So they're typically your best customers, and that additional 1 or 2 points that you're paying in processing fees will translate into potentially tens of thousands of dollars extra in sales per month for you. So that cost brings a reward. So it's never, I never tell my merchants to look at this as, oh, you're losing 2%. You're giving up 2% to get more sales. At the end of the day, once again, having a cost savings analysis, looking at line item by line item by line item at each of these types of transactions is really the only way that you can be absolutely certain that you have a great deal on your merchant account. So, separate from swipe accounts, are all the other types of transactions which do not involve a physical machine and a swiping of a credit card through it. Those types of transactions are called MOTO, mail order, telephone order, or internet, online. Same thing applies. You have your qualified rate. Average merchant is paying 2.39%. In the online internet MOTO arena, there is no mid-qualified because you don't get to key in transactions through a physical machine. So the only other option is to have your non-qual rate. And typically your non-qual rate is going to give you a surcharge of another 1.80. So for taking a business card online, on average, comes to about 4.19%.